Why do musicians never retire? I got this idea from watching the Hans Zimmer, Rick Beato interview. You got to check that out. It's from a month ago on Rick's channel if you haven't seen it already. Amazing. But they basically talk about how Hans is never planning on retiring. And Rick said, why is it that everybody I talk to says the same thing? Why is it that nobody who's a composer, a musician, ever wants to retire? And Hans answered it so beautifully, and it brought up a lot of ideas for me. He basically said, it's because we basically live a playful life because we play music. And that's what it is to be a creator, a composer, a musician. You're creating something that didn't exist, and you get to play every day. You basically have the best possible job on earth if you get paid to do that for a living. And if you're somebody who just does it for fun, it can still be a source of happiness for a really, really long time. It made me think of so many things. Number one, we've all heard of the fountain of youth, right? Well, it got me thinking, why is it that so many musicians stay young for so long? Why is it that some musicians seem to, even though they may physically look older, they still can play for like 2 hours-ish, like the Rolling Stones? They're out there. They're still doing it for a long time. It's like they're superhuman. And what it really is that they discovered the fountain of youth. And the fountain of youth, in my opinion, is a stream. It's a stream of consciousness. And that's being connected to music. When you come up with parts on the fly, random stuff, where you hear an idea in your head and you decide to compose it, you're maybe a producer, or you write, you could do anything, even mixing this applies to. Mastering engineer, mixing engineer, you hear an idea of how you want something to sound and you try to achieve it. You go for whatever it is you're hearing. It could be as little as a dB less here, a dB more there. A little bit of limiting, like a mastering engineer. Or it could be some substantial thing, like, let's make this a lot dirtier. Let's add the Sans amp to it. Let's make it crunchy. Let's change let's make it sound like the scene changed and put a whole ethereal reverb delay thing going. I mean, it could be anything. But all you're doing is tapping into a stream of consciousness that allows you to stay young, just like a fountain of youth. I mean, I don't know if it's a coincidence that fountain of youth, maybe is fed by a stream of consciousness, which is really just music that plays within our heads, that allows us to be creative. One of the greatest parts about that interview is when Hans Zimmer said, he's like, the best tip I could tell you about what he always does when he tries to compose, he sits on his hands and in front of a keyboard and doesn't play a note until he hears in his head what he wants to do. And that allows him to not play the same things over and over and over again. He never goes down that path of repeating himself because he doesn't play anything until he hears it in his head first. And that otherwise we fall into the same patterns. Anybody who plays an instrument knows exactly what I'm talking about. If you play guitar or you play whatever, if I play guitar, I'll always go to the same type patterns that my fingers like to do unless I hear something first in my head. I hear the tune first. It makes so much sense. I would venture to say no matter what you do, you can apply this. Even if you're mixing, don't do the same things you always do. Sit there on your hands and listen to the song and be like, I know what I want to do to this now. I'm hearing what it needs. And now let me attack. I mean, I think that's just such a huge tip from somebody who's, Hans Zimmer is one of the greatest 500 hit wonders or whatever. I mean, he's so much, think about one hit wonder. What's the guy have? 500 or more memorable theme songs that everyone would recognize like this when they heard it. I mean, it's crazy. So it's just amazing that tip applies to pretty much everything creative. And also the concept where he views what he does as playing. He gets to play. And by being lighthearted about it, by approaching a mix in that way, that you get to play with music. Or if you're a composer, you get to play music. It's the same thing. by being somebody who plays with music, you might as well approach it from that thinking. It's not a math class. This is not a science experiment. Although sometimes it feels like we are experimenting and we're doing, chemistry until something works. At the same, you're playing. It's like, even though everything might be riding on it for you, you might have something so critical. Maybe it's a song you love, or you're working on something for somebody else, and it's really important to you that you nail this and knock it out of the park. You still have to approach it from that point of view of, I'm just playing. There's no life-threatening stakes at play here. It's a fantasy world I'm creating with this. What world can I create to bring people into a feeling? And once you're thinking in that way, you're more willing to take risks. You're more willing to take chances. You're not thinking, oh, I always do this, so I got to do this. You're not like looking up a preset from somebody and following what they're doing. I mean, that's not playing. That's something else. And what I'm saying is, you got to relate this kind of have fun with it kind of concept. Relate that to doing whatever you're doing, composing, relate it to mixing. Feel lucky that you get to do it. And once you feel lucky you get to do it, you'll bring the right kind of thoughts to the table where you're thinking more positively, probably. You're more happy about it. You're thinking it's going to be great because you're not worried about the results. I mean, playing has such an interesting connotation to it because if you think about it, we're all just a bunch of grown-up children. And the more we stay connected to that playing mindset, children don't have a worry in the world. They're just in their own fantasy having as much fun as they could have, and they have no worries of life and what anybody's thinking, and there's just, that doesn't exist. If people are going to like it or not, they're just in their own, they just living. They're truly living. And that's what it means to play. And that's why when I say stream of consciousness, musical stream of consciousness, it's a stream, a fountain that never runs dry. You'll never run out of ideas if you come at it from this way of thinking. You will always have a next move. And when you're hit with something where you don't like the sound, don't touch anything until you think about it for a second. Sit on your hands, think about it. What should I do next? And then it'll come to you. And if it doesn't, maybe there's no next move and you're done. Maybe you're done. It's always a possibility. Rick asked some seriously amazing questions in that interview. I recommend everybody watch it. And I guarantee you there will be songs you'll hear because they play little snippets of things that bring me right back to where I was when I heard it the first time. Like the movie True Romance, which is a fantastic, amazing movie. The theme of that movie, Hans Zimmer, but he didn't write it. That was like, he hired the guys, 9 marimba players, to come in and play that amazing theme. It's like Hans said it's some famous piece that they redid with 9 marimba players because that was all the budget that was left. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny, but because that wasn't what he anticipated going into it, but when he was told that's all the budget that was left, he made it work with that. And then what he realized in hindsight was this wouldn't have even worked if I had the whole orchestra of everybody. Like, this happened for a reason, because you'll always find a way to make it work. No matter what you have no gear, you have lots of gear. You have only plugins, you've got hardware. You've got only one crappy guitar, or you've got an arsenal. What do you got? You know what I'm saying? It doesn't even matter. That's the point. You can make it work because you're playing. You're having fun with it. You're using what you have, just like Hans did. And it's amazing when we could kind of put ourselves in that position where, when are we ever going to have all the budget? So a lot of us are just starting from that point of we have the budget we have. We got to make it work. What can we do? Because what he put together with 9 marimba players, which was a minuscule piece of what that budget was, is more than enough to carry that movie. If you've never seen the movie, you might not know what I'm talking about, but it's a movie that's worth seeing. And just his whole thought process on why Hans picked that piece. You know, it's like a romantic scene, and then this simple part of just marimbas. You know, he almost did it like jokingly. He's like, what's the most useless instrument we could get? And they got 9 marimbas. Like, that's what he decided to hire to play this piece. It's such a good interview. You got to watch it. I feel like we are lucky that a piece of interview art like that exists. And I don't know. I don't know how anybody could watch that and not get ideas from it. And that's what I'm bringing you. It's just the best ideas I got from that thing. We can all stay young forever because we found the fountain of youth as musicians, as creative people, as composers, as mixers, whatever you do. You're working on music, you're playing. Have fun with it. Leave a comment, hit the like button. Evan Jaffe, Custom Cut Studios. You guys got this. Take it easy.